Let me get into this first topic, right? What is something that you hear from the opposite sex that you think is holding them back from building a healthy relationship?
Mm.
Do you elaborate on this one real
Um.
quick?
Okay. So I
Mm.
hear a lot of women saying that they want a man that has to have twice their income. So I mean their expectations and standards might be a little bit too high. I also hear women say, a man has to be 6 feet. So, that could be a reason that could be preventing them from getting a healthy relationship. Also, that men don't communicate and that men only want sex.
Mm.
So, there's a lot of things that I may hear from women that may be blocking their blessings.
Mm.
So what are some things I hear from men that I feel like that's a bit unrealistic? You got to be more real. Like do y'all look at things like that?
I mean, I don't look at things like that, but from what my bros have told me, they
Mm.
definitely do have a little bit of an unrealistic expectation of women because 9 times out of 10, which I feel like this is a very large rhetoric with a lot of men, is that they want a woman that is going to be. This is a very controversial word. Submissive.
Every episode,
Submissive. But when they describe what submissive is,
Mhm.
they describe a slave, a woman who is just going to be at home taking care of the kids, cooking for them, cleaning for them, bending at every which and way that they want. And I just feel like that's very unrealistic because
you sure that's them describing it as a slave, or that's what y'all automatically jump to is that it's a slave?
No, I mean,
every
if you
time we
go,
have this show, the moment we say submissive, it
Mm.
automatically women it automatically. Well, I'm not nobody's slave. I'm not gonna be no slave. It's the women that jump to that conclusion.
the only reason why women I feel like may potentially jump to that conclusion, and I use quotation marks very heavily, is because the actual definition of submission to submit is actually to allow somebody to have power over you, to actually put you in a position where you are doing something specifically for them or at their will. So yeah, when you think of that word, it's like I'm not submitting. I'll be cooperative. I'll even like be what's the word? I don't freaking know right now, but cooperative. I'll work with you, but I'm not gonna just do anything that you want me to do because I'm your woman. That's kind of crazy.
But you do understand the meaning is not for you to be a slave. And for those guys, are they saying, hey, well, this is what I'm expecting from a woman to cook and clean if I'm providing and protecting and I'm doing all the other stuff that, makes her day or make my day a little bit less stress. She should be doing that if she doesn't have to work. Correct? Or
I feel like as a man, like as a woman and a man, we both have gender roles, regardless of what's in today's society. A man, in my opinion, a man should be providing and protecting. But
Okay.
as a woman, I'm also going to take care of my man in the ways where a woman should, as a nurturer. That's what women are. But at the same time, there will be situations where if I cannot cook and clean, you can come in to play and cook and clean as well.
I feel like,
and if a man at the time cannot provide financially, especially, a woman probably needs to step up in that relationship and then provide.
Okay. But that doesn't mean that it's left in her hands solely.
Absolutely.
Like if I'm providing for you at this specific moment, there has to be something else that you're adding to my life or you're contributing. You're not just going to sit there and be like, oh, well, she's taking care of me. She's going to cook for me. She's going to provide.
It takes two.
I think it should just be a very...
But why do you look at it as like I'm a slave for my man? Like, why are you not like, this is something you want to naturally do for your family? Like you of course, why would you not want to make a meal for your family or your husband? Like, why does it have to be looked at as why I'm a slave? Like,
for me, I think I want a partner. So anything that we do it together. So if you're hungry and I'm hungry, maybe I'm copping the food or you're getting the food. It's not going to be, okay, well, you're the woman, so it's your job to cook every day. I work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. I'm tired. Maybe you're not at work 9 to 5. Maybe you got a different position, but we could swap roles. We don't have to be, okay, because society said I have to be the cook and the cleaner, that you cannot cook and clean when you're very capable. I don't see why that's a thing.
So you providing as well.
Yeah, I think that people and I think relationships should be, and I don't agree with the 50-50, but I think there should be partnership. When you're up, I'm up. When you're down, I lift you back up, and vice versa. That's how I think it's supposed to be.
Sometimes it's never always 50-50. It could be 70-30. Sometimes it could be 100-0. You never know what the situation calls for.
And I feel like, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
To go off what she said. I feel like with the right partner, if you are understanding of their situation, then you're going to be able to come in and like help add to get them back to 100, and they should be doing the same for you. I don't think it should ever be a thing where it's like, oh, well, I'm expecting this from you, because I feel like an expectation ultimately is just going to lead you to feeling as if you're either one, you're going to resent them at some point because they're constantly having this expectation of you, or two, you're going to feel as though you don't want to do it because, like, why are you expecting this of me? Allow me to be that for you. Like, allow me that space to.
So why doesn't a man ever think, because traditionally, right, a man always had to go and provide for his family and his woman. So that might mean that man might work 80 hours, 90 hours a week to provide for his family. Why doesn't a man ever look at it as like, damn, you know what, I'm a slave to my woman, or I'm a slave, like, you know what I mean? A man would never look at it like, I'm a slave to you. So why are you looking at it like that you're a slave to him?
Because he's not. Oh,
no, go ahead.
Because a man, yes, I feel like I'm gonna put it in layman's. A man is not working just specifically for a woman. If a woman was not in his life, he's still going to feel like he needs to provide for himself. He's probably going to feel like he needs to provide for his immediate family, whether it be his aunt, his sister, his mother, somebody in his family. So
Siblings.
He's not going to feel like a slave. He's going to feel like he's doing it because this is his right as a man for himself, in himself. I need to make my money. I need to survive in this world. I need to be in this world. I'm not just
the same way you would cook and clean for yourself, even if you didn't have a man, right?
Yeah. So
what's the difference?
That's why I'm
same
trying
way
to get
he would cook and clean for himself, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think men.
I'm just saying a man wouldn't use those words as like, I'm being a slave to my woman. Like that's just something we would do naturally, just to provide for our woman. Like so my thing is, when did it become such a slave thing to want to provide for your family?
In a real partnership, there's no such thing as being a slave to your partner. You're going to do what you need to do for that person regardless, because it makes you feel good, it makes you happy. But like I said, and like she said, nothing is always going to be 50-50. Sometimes it's 0-100. If I can't do something at the time, that doesn't mean that I can't do it ever at all. And I'm not doing this because I'm willingly not wanting to do this. You know, that's not. I feel like
but 0-100 don't sound like you're doing anything.
Zero, you gotta go.
0-100 don't sound like I'm doing anything, but you never know. Some people fall on their ass back against the wall 100 times, but you still got to push yourself forward.
You got to find another way to make money.
Absolutely, but it's not going to happen in the snap of a finger overnight. Things don't work that way.
Well, you ain't going to be sitting on your ass looking at me while I'm doing everything else.
Absolutely not.
I feel like, but when y'all talk about go back to zero, what are y'all even speaking about? Because
I would never
there's multiple ways that somebody can add to your life. So if we're talking about monetarily, somebody falls at zero. If I can aid them while I'm providing for them monetarily,
right,
and they're providing for me some type of mental peace, encouragement, or whatever the case may be, I feel like you're still filling my cup in some way, shape,
I wouldn't
form.
call that a zero then. You get what I'm saying? That would never be a zero.
So then you just mean somebody just not giving no effort at all.
Yeah, and expecting something in return.
Oh yeah, then absolutely. You're out of here.
Pouring into that relationship
You're out of here.
whatsoever.
But I do want to answer your question about how it became slave mentality, or what we like, not slave mentality, but why we perceive it as such. It's the expectation. There should never, I just personally feel like there should never be an expectation of you have to do this, because it's a standard is one thing, but like to expect it, that means you already coming into it feeling like, oh, this is what I deserve. You haven't even shown me.
But that's a contradiction.
How?
Because men gotta lead with their money, showing that they can provide.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
All you have to do is pay taxes and die. You really don't have to do shit, to be very honest. Like,
women wouldn't take a man serious if they don't feel like he's financially stable.
That's not true.
I disagree with that.
We pick up ambitious niggas every day.
Like
$0. And as long as you have something and you have something going for yourself, you're gonna go and chase a bag. We will take up
level,
those niggas.
What age level are we referring to? Because most mature women ain't gonna do that. You talking about these teenage kiddie dates we've been on when we were young, or are we? Because I'm not even looking for a woman that's not doing nothing.
Is that maturity? If somebody does not actually feel like when you have the right mentality and you're actually going for something, but you just don't have like a certain amount of money, or you don't meet a certain tax bracket in this moment, that they aren't willing to be there for you. Is that really maturity, or is that actually kidding?
Money doesn't determine somebody's value.
No. Well, I agree with y'all saying, but I think y'all mixing up what I'm kind of trying to say. I'm trying to say that, you got to have some kind of financial stability. You can't just be somebody that just I'm
can't be a bum with that ambition.
Yeah,
like
but
gonna take it seriously.
Women shouldn't date bums, and I think men shouldn't date bums either.
Agreed.
Exactly.
I just don't feel like if you feel like this person is a bum, and you could blatantly see when somebody is just not in the right mindset, they're just not getting themselves together.
But in your scenario, you say you're talking to your homeboys and they're expecting a woman to cook, clean, or whatever. Are they paying her the bills and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So,
but
so in that relationship,
I just feel like
what would that woman be expected to do then? Like,
there shouldn't be an expectation of her to do it. If you're providing for her, or if you're making her feel safe enough to be that, then she's just gonna do it on her own. You wouldn't have to ask her. You wouldn't have to have that expectation. It's just gonna happen.
Well, I'm gonna ask her to leave if she ain't doing that shit. That's what I'm gonna ask her.
It's just gonna happen.
Out of here.
So why is it then unrealistic to require submission? If I'm paying on your bills, you gotta be bringing some value to my. Because what else are you going to be doing?
Yeah, I mean,
so why is it only based off you paying my bills? So just because you pay my bills, I'm now supposed to just be this soft, loving woman for you because you giving me money?
To this man because he paid the bills. Yes.
No,
what are you doing for me mentally?
Like, what do you mean?
But what is the man doing for me mentally? Is he helping me or not even helping me?
Taking the financial load off of you, one.
Okay.
He's being there for you emotionally and supporting you and whatever you're doing.
Then that's different. You just said paying bills, but being there for me emotionally, mentally, or spiritually, you're not adding to like all parts of a cup.
I mean, if you paying your bills, you're gonna have more mental health because you're not stressing over work or who's paying your bills and stuff. That's
but
why would you stress?
I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, I don't agree either.
So you gonna be
I don't think money equates to happiness.
I'm not saying
or anything of that nature. So for me, it's like.
But I'm saying it's taking a burden off of your mental by having somebody provide that for you and protect you in a sense, right?
You can. He ain't saying gonna clear your mind, but he's saying.
Yeah, but you can agree that if you don't got to worry about bills or rent or whatever, where your next meal is coming from, that's something off your mental.
But what do you mean by where your next meal is coming from? Like before I was eating.
You ain't got no money and I'm providing it for you.
But why do I have to be broke coming into a situation? So I have my own money. I could pay my own bills now. I could feed myself now. You just came into the picture, and as a man, you want to provide and protect. Go ahead,
which
do what you want to do.
Correct.
It's not necessarily expected, but my opinion, it's not necessarily expected, but for me, I want a man to provide and protect, but that doesn't mean I can't provide and protect for myself.
You just like every other woman on our show. I think when men have standards,
because I don't know about all the other women on your show.
When men have standards and preferences, then we try to why do you have those expectations?
So what are your standards and preferences for a woman? Yes.
Well, if I'm providing, protecting,
take yourself. I'm not asking about what you're doing. I'm saying, what are your preferences for a woman?
That's what I'm saying. If I'm doing what I have to do in a relationship as a man, I expect my woman to make sure that I'm good, whether it's my mental, make sure she's my peace. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't have peace already, but you damn sure not gonna be adding to it by being a headache. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay,
I would expect you to want to do things that would make me happy, make my life easier the same way I'm making your life easier.
Absolutely.
Whether that's making me a plate, whether that's coming home and making sure the house is good or whatever the case is. If we have kids, making sure the kids are good.
Understood.
You know what I'm saying?
But before you get into that relationship, what are you looking for in a woman? What does she need to have for you to say this can be a potential girlfriend or wife for myself? Because then that determines later on who's providing at that moment.
I think a woman that leads in her femininity, that doesn't have this selective femininity, a woman that values family, who's very family oriented, a woman that's ambitious, that's motivated, that can inspire me, because I think that's very powerful. I think those are the core things that I expect from a woman.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop you there now. You did not say nothing about cooking and cleaning.
But I said cooking earlier when I said if I'm providing, then I expect
that's after you get into the relationship. I'm talking about before. You didn't say nothing about cooking.
You're talking about in a dating.
Can I ask you a question?
We're supposed to go in expecting this woman that.
What if she don't know how to cook? Right. What if she don't know how to cook? What you gonna do?
You automatically just gonna write her off because she don't know how to cook a meal?
No. If she be willing to learn?
Yeah.
But who's teaching her?
Right. Are you teaching her?
No. I could teach her, but she got a mama. Hopefully, she got an auntie, like you was mentioning, uncle, niece, nephews.
They got cooking
YouTube. Y'all smart enough to do everything else.
But you want her to cook, so why you not gonna take the initiative to help your lady out?
Did you not hear my first?
She's not at zero. She's not at zero. 0.
Like I said,
she's at 75, maybe 80. She knows.
I think you blew past the first thing I said. I said I am willing to help her.
Okay.
But she needs to take the initiative as well. If you want to keep a man happy, you got to do that shit on your own.
So she's just supposed to learn how to cook just to keep her man happy.
That's one of the things you would need. Just like I'm willing to cook.
That's just it. That's just something that she would be willing to do.
There are relationships where the man cooks and he also provides and he also protects. So
those are a very small minority of relationships.
I don't think so.
You think that?
Why don't
I don't think so. I do not think so because my father. Because
my
father, yes,
a woman's first male example of what she would potentially look for in a man is her father,
or the next close male figure to that, an uncle or a brother.
The first man in her life is always going to teach her how.
I also hear women say they go against men that's exactly the opposite of their fathers.
But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give you an example. My mother and father. Perfect. Yeah, definitely. But my mother and father, my father was a provider and a protector. My father paid all the bills. My father paid for my mother's college education. My father took care of us, took us on vacation multiple times throughout the year. My mother stood at home and she cooked and she cleaned. She went to school and she took care of me. My father also was not home very often because he worked out of the country. But coming back in when my father could not, my mother did. And my father, and then my mother,
right?
And then the gender role switched, and then my mother then became the provider and the protector, and my father
can't protect him. Your mother can't protect him.
She became the provider.
She became a provider.
She became a provider for the home. For the home.
No, she did not.
No, she became a provider.
She became a provider.
Hold on.
A woman cannot protect a man.
Time. What you mean a woman can't protect?
What can you protect me from?
What do you mean?
If you look at statistics, right?
We keep the niggas out the streets.
Come on.
What do you mean?
Listen, when you look at situations, right? When there's kidnappings and all these other extreme things, those are usually women without a man around them, correct? When kids are getting kidnapped, those are single women with children or a child without a parent, or women getting into situations where they're getting kidnapped without a man, right? I'm not saying it doesn't happen when a man is there, but
men
most likely, most of these scenarios happen.
You heard about the news, Mexico.
Men be getting kidnapped and raped.
I'm just saying,
a minority.
Y'all talking about the exception to the rule. And it be men
that know how to protect themselves and know how to actually defend themselves.
So how can a woman protect me? So if it's a bunch of dudes here, what you gonna do?
What do you mean? I'm gonna do what I can to protect my man. That's it.
I'm gonna be for
real.
That's
very vague. That doesn't make it.
That doesn't mean know
what I got on me.
Can we be realistic?
I don't think we being realistic.
Let's just be realistic for a second.
How is it not realistic about switching gender roles? That's possible.
How did your mother protect your father?
She protected the household.
No. She provided for the household.
How did she protect my father? She protected my father by also helping out financially.
That's not
protection. She provided for the household. She became the provider.
To you guys?
Someone that's gonna keep you safe. Someone is willing to put his life on the line to make sure you're safe.
And you think a woman wouldn't do the same thing for her man?
No,
hell no.
You think that? Then you're
dating the wrong girl.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
If your woman wouldn't risk herself
can't physically
for you,
stand up to a man and beat him. Not in the majority rate. So I don't want y'all to call about Ronda Rousey coming here and knocking somebody out.
I'm sorry.
There's other ways of protecting, not just fighting. You don't just gotta use your hands.
So we keep asking.
But I'm gonna keep it a stack though. Like I'm just saying, the women that I've seen and been around, they going up to bat for their man. Like if I really care about you,
we're not saying that you're not.
No, but I'm talking about like actually physically too. Like if worse come to worse and it's me and my man. I'm with him. I'm riding with him. And if I need to fuck somebody up, if I need to punch somebody in the face,
regardless if I get my ass beat or not.
We understand what y'all saying, right? That y'all would be willing to protect your man. But in a real scenario, a man is not going to have his woman trying to protect him.
Of course not, because it's a male mentality thing where it's like, I don't want my lady being outside and nothing like that.
Men are physically stronger than women.
And that's the issue. Women think they just as strong as men. A man could break your bones are way more.
I'm pretty sure if you ask your mom when them gender roles flip, if she was the protector in the family, she would tell you no, that was still your father. That's still his job.
Can I ask y'all a quick question?
I don't know. You don't know my mama.
Can I ask you a quick question? What do you think is more likely to happen? If you was walking down on a road with your purse and it's dark, you think a burglar would more likely to try you by yourself or with a man with you?
I mean, I've been tried with my man directly beside me.
That's not. I said, which one is more likely to happen? And you go around the whole question. Which one is more likely to happen? Would a burglar
statistically?
Wait, hold on. I just feel like a burglar, somebody who has the intent to rob, they're gonna try and do that
regardless,
with a man or a woman, regardless if they're by themselves. Because when you're by yourself, you're not. It's not numbers. It's a numbers thing. It's just probability. So I feel like they're gonna
probability of me being physically stronger than a woman and taking her shit, knowing that she can't do nothing to protect herself against me, like. Be realistic.
So you
we gotta be realistic. On the street right now.
Is a man.
On the street right now. Who the robber? Who you think the robber is more likely to go after, Ace or you?
Depending on I'm saying depending on what he's looking for, depending on what he's looking for and what his intention to rob somebody is for, yeah, he might go for either one of them.
They might see them rings and be like, run me those.
That's what I'm saying. Like niggas get robbed every day.
No, we're not saying men don't get robbed. We're just saying that.
On a scale of probability, you know what I'm saying? Like women are most likely to get targeted.
I'm gonna be for real. Women are walking targets. Every single day we walk outside, we are a target.
Why is that so hard to admit?
It's not hard to admit. It's really just sad overall, but we are walking targets. Yeah. We like to believe that if we're in a room with men, we're safer. We're not that safe. We're not that safe.
Regardless if it's a
men that I know and strangers, and I've still been touched on, felt on, and roped. So it doesn't really matter. We're talking about, okay, if you got a man with you, nobody's gonna touch you. That's a lie.
Nobody said it would never happen.
They do it anyway.
Less likely to happen.
It's not.
So you could be.
My woman ain't never been experienced with that. Ain't never touched her, rubbed her, robbed her, nothing. Not with me being here.
So you could be in a room with your man or your brother or your father, whatever, and somebody's still gonna attempt to touch you. You trying to touch you? And then what you think? What think is gonna happen?
People do shit that is sneaky, and they think like
it's happened to me. I just want to get this correct. You're saying if you're in a room with your brother, your father, your uncle, they would allow that to happen?
I'm not saying they would allow it, but I'm not saying it doesn't happen. That's what we talk about. It happens.
I'm asking you a simple question. It's a yes or no.
I just said that they would never allow it.
Okay.
Something will happen after the fact, but that don't mean it will stop it from happening. People do whatever the fuck they want.
But that's the job of a man to protect, right?
And then you can't predict the future like that. No. That nigga look like he about to touch your ass in 5, 4, 3. No,
but that's my point. I've been in situations, and pretty recently, I've been in situations where I'm standing up in my man's arms, and a man has come up and grabbed me physically.
And your boyfriend's arm?
Yes. And he turns up. Right, Willis went to jail behind that, but at the end of the day, it still happened. You telling me,
he protected you. He prevented it from getting worse.
We talking about, is it less likely for it to happen if you with a man? It's not.
It is.
It's not.
It is.
It's not.
It is.
It's not. If you ain't never walked in from like, if you ain't never know. Wait, pause.
More stuff happens to women when they're alone rather than when they're with somebody else.
If you never walked in the shoes of a woman, you can't answer that question. All right. We are targets, no matter where we at or who we with.
Anybody, just like I said, anybody could be a target. Because of the mentality
that men have that, we're stronger than women, they feel like they can...
We are stronger than women.
They feel like they can take advantage of women, so that's why, a woman would be an easier target.
I'm physically stronger than all of y'all here put together.
Can I ask, what do you think would have happened if your boyfriend wasn't there?
It would have been more than just touching. I would have fucked him in.
And what would have happened to you?
It would have been what it was. I would have went up, though. I think... Me, I'm not scared to take. I'm gonna do what I have to do to protect me. Personally,
y'all being around the bush. What's the next question, man? What's the next question?
You gonna be in the hospital bed talking about I ain't scared. Like you could be scared and still get
beat
up.
Why do y'all think?
Why we gotta be scared? So like, are we these frail, fragile creatures that can't
fuck niggas as big as you up? Like this is not nothing that I've never seen before. So I don't get where that mentality.
Because I'm talking about if in general when situations happen. Yeah, the majority.
We're not talking about we've all seen a woman beat a man.
Yeah,
it's possible.
Women be beating a man ass at home.
But 9 out of 10 times that man is gonna win that.
Where y'all drawing these statistics from?
What are you?
I want to know. What's the science?
It's coming off a little biased.
Bro, what kind of Wonder Woman shit? Y'all be watching too much Wonder Woman and thinking y'all like.
Was you grateful your man was there to prevent the situation from getting any worse?
Was I grateful?
Yes.
That he was there?
Yes.
Why that word?
Honestly.
What's wrong with the word?
Honestly.
I'll be grateful for my woman. When my woman makes me food or when my woman rubs my back, I'm grateful for everything.
That's not the same as a man touching on your body.
No, all I know I said, is she grateful that her man was there to protect her?
I'm going to be real with you. The worst case scenario for a nigga to be in was my nigga is involved. because these people are gonna get hurt really
But I'm
severely.
saying
So at that point,
I
don't care for people to get. I don't care to mix those things. I could defend myself. I could.
I'm just saying,
were
you grateful your man was there? We still can't get a.
No, I said no.
Okay.
I said no.
Oh damn.
No.
He almost ended up in handcuffs. Do you want to go to handcuffs?
There's a clear reason why female MMA fighters do not fight MMA. Because we're talking about the difference. Female boxers don't fight male boxers.
Why are we talking about women boxers? Because this is not a realistic scenario.
Y'all said women be beating men. That's not a realistic
That's the only time a woman can beat a man.
We will do what we have to do for us at the end of the day. If that's
going
toe to toe with a big ass nigga,
I'm talking about a regular ass woman. I'm talking about a regular ass woman, not nobody who's trained in MMA, nobody who was doing boxing. I'm talking about a regular woman.
Probably will get her ass beat by a regular ass man. It's just that it's really that simple. I don't know why we going back and forth. It might be that exception to the rule, but the majority will most likely be overwhelmed by a man. Like, that's just how it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
there's a reason that when you see a woman hitting a man, nobody say nothing. But when a man hit a woman, everybody's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Like, it's because
nobody should be putting hands on nobody in that kind of sense.
That is true.
So I don't know about that.
That is true.
That's abuse is never condoned. Whether it's a woman beating a man or a man beating a woman,
it should just not happen.
It shouldn't happen.
I feel we all gonna agree to disagree on this.
Yeah, it's right. It's right. Maybe out here
going around it.
But I do think you should appreciate your man.
I do.
And be grateful that he was there.
Wait, but when did she say she didn't?
I never said I didn't.
She said she wasn't grateful for him to be there.
No, I said.
But that doesn't mean that she doesn't appreciate him.
Well, I think she should be grateful as well.
Handcuffs and we in another state. Like, so do I want my man to go down for putting his hands on somebody?
My woman's man, me protecting my woman, I'm willing to die. I'm willing to catch a bullet for her.
So you think that she wouldn't want to catch a bullet for you too?
Listen. She's saying bringing up handcuffs. And I'm pretty sure if her man loves her and respect her, he's willing to go beyond handcuffs to protect her.
He would.
And that's the point I want you to get. I think y'all going past it. You keep comparing what I'm saying. Oh, yeah, I believe my woman will be willing to do the same. Mm-hmm. But and that makes me grateful for her. And I hope she's grateful for me.
We had a whole woman on this show talk about when we asked her would she take a bullet for a man, and she like, I don't know. Like, most women ain't gonna take a bullet for their man.
They was together for 9 years.
They still together. Listen.